Hi everyone. So today we are going to be learning all about the frog life cycle so that we can see a little more clearly how it looks for an amphibian to have two lives, both in the water and out of the water. So we'll get to that in just a minute. First, let's go through our vocabulary words. We have a lot now, so we'll go through them quickly, but just try to say them. The more we review, the better you'll get, and the more it will stick in your head. And let's begin. Warm-blooded, keen, nurse, omnivore, antenna, cold-blooded, exoskeleton, predator, camouflage, migrate, colony, vertebrates, herbivore, carnivore, adaptable, freshwater, saltwater, gill. Okay, now on to the frog life cycle. We are going to learn about it by both reading about each stage and also watching a little video clip for each stage. And when we're done learning about it, we will draw our own pictures to represent each stage of the life cycle. So if you have some blank paper, you just need one page. If you don't have blank paper, you can use your journal or any scrap paper you have lying around is fine. And then you just need a pencil for the actual drawing. But if you want crayons to color it in or colored pencils, that would be great too. So without further ado, let's get to the reading. Okay, so frog stages. There are four main stages we will be talking about. The first one is the egg mass. Remember, frogs, or all amphibians, lay eggs. So I'm going to read this section, and then I'll show you the video clip so you can actually see what the egg mass looks like. Okay. Oh, I can zoom. Is that better? Perfect. Okay. Frogs begin their lives as tadpoles that are hatched in the water from tiny jelly-covered eggs. The mother frog will lay thousands of eggs at one time. Imagine having thousands of brothers and sisters. The jelly has an awful taste, which protects the eggs from predators until they are ready to hatch. Okay, so let's take a look at the video so you can really see what this looks like. It's pretty cool. Full screen. Oh, okay, so you can already see the eggs, or the egg mass. Remember, there's thousands that are born at once. They're covered in a kind of jelly-like.
Frogs tend to lay eggs in masses in freshwater ponds and streams. A floating clump of eggs is called a frog spawn. Some frogs leave after this point, but others stick around to watch over the little ones. The eggs become surrounded by a jelly-like covering, which protects the eggs. The eggs slowly develop, but only a few develop into full-grown adult frogs. This is because ducks, fish, Insects and other water creatures eat most of the eggs. Tiny tadpoles start their lives as black or brown dots in the center of an egg. As they begin to grow, you can see the egg wiggle inside the jelly. The tadpole eats the jelly from the egg and eventually works its way out of the egg, usually after 21 days. When tadpoles hatch.
Okay, so that was the egg mass. And you can see the tadpole comes out of the egg mass. Now, do all of the thousands of eggs become frogs? No. In the video, they told us that many of the eggs get eaten by creatures like ducks. So even though that jelly covering is made to be kind of gross, so animals won't eat it, a lot of them still do get eaten, unfortunately. So the first stage is the egg mass. Can you say that? Egg mass. The next stage is tadpoles. So out of the eggs come tadpoles. Let's go ahead and read about those. Here we go. So tadpoles are born with gills, just like a fish, so that they can breathe underwater. They have a big head and a long tail. They definitely do not look like frogs yet. Tadpoles have a tough life. It's a good thing they are fast swimmers to escape the many other creatures that hunt them in the pond. They are a favorite food to fish and water beetles. That's too bad. So most of the eggs are eaten, and the ones that survive and turn into tadpoles are still at risk of being eaten by fish and water beetles. All right, let's continue the video and watch the part about tadpoles. There's a tadpole. Remember, they have a big head and a long tail.
From the egg, they have a long tail and gills for breathing in the water. Tadpoles eat plants and algae for several weeks as they grow larger. At this stage, the tadpole is extremely vulnerable and must rely on its camouflage to protect itself. As tadpoles grow bigger, they get tiny teeth and begin to eat small insects in the water. Tadpoles gradually change their appearance until they look like their parents. This process, called metamorphosis, might take a few weeks or several months, depending on the kind of amphibian the tadpole is. After about 5 weeks, the tadpole begins to change.
Okay. So let's see. You can already tell that the tadpole starts to grow some legs. Eventually they will get their 4 legs and then slowly lose their tail. This in-between stage between a tadpole and a frog is called a froglet. So let's go ahead and read about the froglet. It's a short section. Okay, so the tadpoles turn into froglets. The body shrinks and legs form. And since that was short, I'll read the frog section too, and then we'll finish the video. So for frogs, the froglet's tail shrinks, the lungs develop, and the back legs grow longer, and then we have a frog. So let's see what that looks like.
It starts to grow hind legs, which are soon followed with forelegs. At this stage, it is no longer called a tadpole, but rather a froglet. As a froglet is busy growing legs, his gills begin to disappear and he develops lungs for breathing. 11 weeks after the eggs were laid, a fully developed frog with lungs, legs, and no tail emerges from the water. The frog will mostly live on land with occasional swims. The tiny frog begins to eat insects and worms. Eventually, it will find a mate. The way this is done varies depending on the species. The female lays the eggs, the male fertilizes them, and the whole process begins again.
Okay. So once we have an adult frog, they can then lay eggs and the cycle continues. So that's why we call it a life cycle. It never stops. It keeps going from the egg mass to the tadpole, to the froglet, to the frog, and then the frog lays eggs again. Tadpoles are growing again. Okay, froglet. Tail should be shrinking. So we have a very cool. So now we are going to draw our own picture of the frog life cycle. So on the top of your page, go ahead and title it Frog Life Cycle. If you need more time, go ahead and pause, and then we will continue in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you should have Frog Life Cycle at the top with plenty of room for your picture underneath. And we are going to start with the first stage. Do you remember what it's called? Is the egg mass. And you can see in our reading, they did have a little picture of it. So they almost look like little eyeballs. So little circles with a black dot inside with that jelly covering. I'm gonna draw in mine and then I'll go ahead and show you what I did. Let me get a pen, I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. So I drew my egg mass and I labeled it. So make sure you also write egg mass next to your picture. And it should be at the top so you have room for the whole life cycle. If you need some time for that, go ahead and pause. And I'll move on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I'm going to draw an arrow to go to the next stage. Now there's 4 stages, so you want to make sure you're spacing it right. So this is the first stage, the second stage, the third stage will be at the bottom, and then the 4th stage will be over here. So you don't want any stage to take up too much space. Otherwise you won't have room for everything. So what comes after the egg mass stage? That's right, tadpoles come out of those eggs. So a tadpole is going to have a long tail. And let me show you what it looked like in our reading. Scroll down, there we go. It was black in the reading. I'm not going to color mine in that much. So you're gonna have like a long teardrop shape that's sideways. And then add on those little fins, it looks like, with an eye. And of course, we're going to label it Tadpoles. Let me show you the picture again. So you're doing the picture and then writing Tadpoles next to it. too big. There we go. Okay, so if you need more time, go ahead and pause. And we'll move on in 3, 2, 1. Now again, we'll draw an arrow to the next stage at the bottom of our paper. Remember, our life cycle is a circle. So try to make your lines curved. And so we have egg mass, tadpoles. What comes next? It is called the froglet stage. So the froglets are a little harder to draw. I looked and looked and looked for a good drawing tutorial. I couldn't find one. So I'll do my best to show you how to draw a froglet. Okay, this is mine. I'm going to take you through step by step how to do that. When I'm showing you, it's going to be really big, but you want to make it small on your paper. So the first step is the body. So this would be the head. So the head is curvy, of course. You're going to go in a little bit and then out. A nice big body there, nice and round. And then, of course, it still has a long, kind of curvy tail. And then you got that body, you go in a little bit, and we have that rounded head. It doesn't need to be perfect. And this is why I wanted you to do this in pencil, though. You can erase if you need to. If you need more time on the body, go ahead and pause. I'm going to continue on to the eyes and the legs. Okay, so that's the body. I'm moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so next up, we're going to do our eyes. And they're going to look kind of like the eggs we made. Just a little dot with circles. I told you I wasn't much of an artist. These are uneven, huh? Okay. So we have the eyes, and now as the tadpole transforms into a froglet, they get their back legs first and then the front ones. We're going to draw all 4 right now. So the front ones are pretty easy. Mine are a little small, but when they come out, we have, this is kind of like a W or an M. But remember, it's webbed feet. They're nice and pointy. Think of drawing either an M or a W. And you want to do that on both sides. Okay, it kind of looks a little like a ghost, huh? Okay, now we're going to do the back legs, which are kind of a different shape. So they curve out a little. The feet are still going to have that W or M shape. It's going to look like that. So here, you know, you kind of go up and down. You do your webbed foot, looks like a W. Then you're gonna go in and out. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect. Mine sure isn't. Okay, and that's going to be our froglet. You're gonna make it nice and small. If you need more time, go ahead and pause. I'm gonna move on in 3, 2, 1. And you should have something like this on your life cycle. Okay. So now finally we get to the frog. And I do have a good tutorial for this. So hopefully these turn out good. Let me share my screen. And see, we don't need that. Here we go. Okay, let's follow the directions and then we'll see what our pictures look like.
Let's get started. First, we're going to draw 2 circles for the eyes. Let's draw the left one.
Wait. I want to make sure I shared the sound. Did I share the sound? Let's see. Let me try that again. Oh, it was shared. Okay. All right, here we go.
Down, circle
Eyes.
for the eyeball, and then another one just right next to it, about the same size. And then we're going to color in a little black dot in both of them for the pupil. And then we're going to imagine an oval from this side of the eye going all the way around to make the head, and going back around and stopping at the eyeball. But we don't want to go through, but we're going to go through right here to connect. There we go. And then now let's add a little mouth, just a curved line from this side to this side. Look how happy he looks. Alright, now we are going to draw 2 front legs. Right below the head, a little spaced apart, we're going to draw 2 lines going down, and then another 2 lines for the other leg going down. Okay, this part's a little bit tricky, but imagine a wide M. And then we're going to connect the M to those 2 lines to make the leg with webbed feet. And then do it to the other side. Another M, and connect it to the 2 lines to make a leg and webbed feet. Next, we are going to imagine a big oval for the body, but we're not going to go through the head. We're going to start on the side of the head, going around, and then past the foot, under there, and then back around, connecting back to the head. And there's the chubby round body. Okay, next we are going to add the back legs. We're going to imagine the number 2. We're going to go up and around, going down, and then a line poking out. Can you imagine a backwards number 2 on this side? Going up and over, down to this side, and then a line poking straight out. Okay, and to do the webbed feet, we do a sideways M, going this way, and then we'll draw a line connecting to the body. And then we're going to draw another sideways M on this side to make webbed feet, and then a line going from the toe to the body. Alright, the last detail, just a line from the body into the leg a little bit, and a line from the body to make a bended knee. And there we go. Our frog is all done. Alright, the next part is we are going to color in the frog.
Okay. You'll get to color in later if you want. But you do need to write frogs next to your picture. That is the last stage. So F-R-O-G-S, frogs. And me show you what mine looks like. We made it a little too big, right? He went through my arrow, but that's okay. I just made my arrows a little darker. And that's it. That is our, well, this says frog stages. Another one I did earlier, but that's our frog life cycle. So if you want, you can go ahead and color each stage. It's up to you. And then you're going to take a picture and upload it on Class Dojo under Frog Life Cycle. And that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll be learning about more amphibians, including toads, as well as some salamanders and newts. So I'll see you then, everyone. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.